Welcome back to ToBeSeen.com. I'm Joe Dove here for a new thing called Netflix Worth Watching. Now, if you are caught up in the awe of the saving grace of the Disney Star Wars universe, Baby Yoda, you might have missed the saving grace of Netflix. A tale of King Henry V of England and his rise to become the actual King of England. This story is actually based on true events that happened many, many years ago. This movie stars Timothée Chalamet, a French citizen who has dual citizenship in France, which I thought to be a fun little tidbit. But this is a fantastic film that I definitely recommend you watch. It also starring in this film as the Dark Knight, aka the King of France, Robert Pattinson, who is actually going to be the Caped Crusader and Dark Knight of the Warner Brothers world in the upcoming The Batman film. While Timothée Chalamet will also be in an upcoming feature film called Dune, where he will be portraying Paul Atreides. So strangely enough, I'm really looking forward to his portrayal of the character Paul, because the movie does need a nice little reboot, and it would be interesting to see if it can be done right, because I hated the Sci-Fi Channel version, but I loved David Lynch version, because I felt like all the actors were more high bar, and you know, it did have Patrick Stewart and Sting, who I'm a huge fan of, and a lot of other guys that really became well-known actors in your favorite B movies, like Carl McLachlan, and so on and so forth. But back to the King. So the King stars Hal, who's portrayed by Timothée Chalamet, the wayward prince and reluctant heir to the English throne, who turned his back on the royal life and hangs out in the bars and fights in the bars, and you know, typical prodigal son that doesn't really want to have anything to do with the throne. Turns out, Pops dies. He's trying to run away from being king, and sure enough, he gets crowned King Henry V. So now this young king has to figure out how to handle kingly politics in his own home of England, and how to deal with the chaos that the wars of his father had. And in doing so, he butts heads with the King of France, and that character is portrayed by Robert Pattinson, who does a really good and funny French accent. I find it funny because of the way he was jumping into the role, but he did a really good job. And I found it kind of funny that the knight's armor that they gave him, the Prince of France, was a Dark Knight, Black Knight looking armor. There's a really interesting and fun banter between the King of France and the King of England, where the King of England basically challenges the King of France to a one-on-one duel to save lives and make the war end quicker. And of course, the King of France isn't having that. He's got the bigger and better army, so he straight up looks right into King Henry V, and he's like, "Are you scared, Henri?" And I just love how he pronounces Henri. Very good. I gotta tell you, the fight scenes were actually really good too. There's a lot of political positioning, espionage, scheming, plans within plans. That's a Dune reference. If you've never watched it, you should. Anyway, they did a really good job with the period piece armor too, because you know the horses, they even have their own armor. The armor is very reminiscent of the time, and it's just a great film. I think they spent the right amount of money getting the project together and did a great job with choreography. It really felt really tense in a lot of moments during the battle scenes, and it had you on the edge of your seat because you didn't, well, I mean, if you were familiar with the story and the historical facts between this, you would know how the outcome turns out. But you know, being a perspective of a newbie to this genre, you didn't really know what was going to happen. We had this young untested king going on a battlefield with a much superior army on the other side. So it was really fun to see how the whole venture unfolded. Fun fact, Johnny Depp's daughter is in this, and she plays a character that's introduced well towards the end, set up with the King of England, and she does a great French accent. I believe she is French too, so a lot of French people in this movie. Really fun. But I highly recommend The King, the Netflix extravaganza that recently came out. It's something fun to watch as you stuff and prime your turkey, or maybe you're stuffed full of stuffing and want something from the director David McLeod to check out. I definitely recommend The King. It's phenomenal performances by the cast, and there's a lot of surprise cast members in there like Ben Mendelsohn and Sean Harris from the Mission Impossible movies, and of course, as I said before, Johnny Depp's daughter and Robert Pattinson, the future Batman. And there's a fun little surprise part by Joel Edgerton, who plays a sort of mentor figure for the king himself during his bar sloshing days. So, very good effects, very good cinematography, a lot of very artsy shots in this film I really enjoyed. And I think you will too. So, have you seen The King? Did you enjoy this video? Did you hate it? Let me know. Comment below. I'm Joe Dove for ToBeSeen.com. This is Netflix Worth Watching, and I encourage you to check out all the other shows on the channel, including Comic Conversation, music by Stefano Andrade, Visconti, and a few others. It's a fun channel. I really hope you subscribe. Take care, and I'll see you in the darkness.